Attention, 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 red alert, red alert, red alert. Notice directed to all ambitious auto sales and marketing professionals. 2-hour parking limit from June 1st. Trust me, this is really a timely message to you and me. You ask, why? Being caring sales and marketing auto professionals, we are duty bound to read this week's newsletter to remind ourselves, our customers and others, on traffic situation in certain areas in Selangor. In truth, by this message, it will alert everyone not to create congestion in parking bays in USJ and Subang Jaya areas. Alright, thanks. To give you a gist of this newsletter, it is worth noting about the steps to be taken by Subang Jaya City Council, MBSJ, to alleviate the parking problem in congested spots with a 2 hours parking limit. To minimize the inconveniences caused by unlimited parking time limit, the authority hopes to get their enforcement officer to ensure car owner obey the car parking limited hours. Additionally, the parking rates would be revised to further discourage vehicles drivers to limit their parking time. Lastly, the parking fees will be made easier with e-coupons and etc. Without ado, let's jump into this week's bulletin. Okay, headline: 2-hour parking limit from June 1st, 2022. Believe it or not, setting a parking spot when running errands in some commercial areas in Subang Jaya and Puchong will be much easier from the middle of this year. Starting from June 1st, Subang Jaya City Council, MBSJ, will impose a 2-hour parking limit in selected commercial areas under its jurisdiction. Subang Jaya Mayor Joery Anwar said the matter was being finalized and commercial areas in USJ 9, USJ 10, SS 19, Bandar Puteri Puchong as well as Bandar Sunway are among those in the review. These will be known as 2-hour parking zones. We are also studying other roads and areas. The rates for these zones will be 60 sen, Rm 0.60, for half an hour or Rm 1.20 per hour, he said after chairing the Council full board meeting yesterday. Joery said the move to impose a time limit had been in the works for some time to improve parking availability in the affected areas. We aim to make the street parking facility available to visitors to the areas rather than being dominated by those who work there, he said. After the 2-hour limit, private and commercial vehicles must vacate their spot and these motorists will not be allowed to park in the same area, he said. We will introduce a system to monitor vehicles parked in these zones to alert our enforcement officers if anyone has been parked for longer than allowed, he added. MBSJ's public parking system is also set to transition to fully online payment methods in the form of mobile apps and e-coupons starting April 1st. Joery confirmed that the use of scratch coupons and pay-and-display parking machines would end on March 31st. A spokesman from the Council's Treasury, Parking Section, said parking fee applications that would continue included Smart Selangor Parking, Flexi Parking, From Parking as well as Boost and Touch and Go e-wallets. Those who do not own smartphones will be able to pay for parking to authorized e-coupon vendors. He said parking coupons that were bought but unused could be refunded before March 31st. He added that details on the process and the location for refunds would be announced soon. On another matter, Joery said the City Council would work to prevent a recurrence of the floods that swept Selangor last December. We will strengthen our bylaws and make conditions for development stricter to ensure sustainable development. We will also establish an alert system to inform and disseminate warnings concerning floods, especially for residents in flood-prone areas. He said the system was designed to detect water levels and rainfall and sound an alarm to warn residents. It will also trigger an alert at MBSJ's command center where more warnings will be issued to chat groups with community leaders, agencies involved in rescue and disaster management as well as to the public via our social media, he said. Joery added that the alert system and additional steps like engaging and educating residents as well as updating phone numbers of community heads in hotspot are needed to be done before the next monsoon season. In closing, this newsletter on the 2-hour parking limit being undertaken by Subang Jaya City Council, MBSJ. It's good to recap the salient points. Agree or not? Basically, City Council is doing their best to alleviate the parking hassle in congested spots with a 2 hours parking policy. To further reduce the inconveniences caused by unlimited parking time, the authority hopes to get their enforcement officer to ensure car drivers obey the automobile parking limit hours. Moreover, the parking charges would be revised to further encourage automobiles drivers to limit their parking time. Finally, the parking charges will be made easier with e-coupons, etc. All in all, knowing the adverse parking situation in certain areas, we, ourselves as car owner, do strive to improve the parking facilities by doing our utmost best to lessen these problems. Alright, my parting words are best said by Mokokoma Makanoina, who is a philosopher, a social critic, a graphic designer, a writer of thought-provoking aphorisms, essays, and books, a satirist, etc. A car is one of the most interesting inventions, but driving is one of the most boring activities. End of Red Hot News, extracted and modified from printed sources. P.S. By the way, come to think of it, we know it is a lengthy newsletter on automobiles issues, yet we want to congratulate you for reading the important news about vehicles' parking concerns. Make no mistakes, we are committed to your growth, self-development, and your success in your auto-selling profession. Period. Needless to say, since you have read this auto news, you now deserve more forthcoming free bonus gifts of chapters from the book How to Prospect for Your Ideal Customer. Lest you forget, these sharing will continue in WhatsApp, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course in our club's president email, josephsefng@gmail.com, upon request. Alright, thank you again. We hope to meet you next week. News sheet. Goodbye and best wishes. From me, Madam Florence, the virtual presenter to author CTM Joseph. Dated, 22nd March 2022. End of Red Hot News, extracted and modified from printed source.